Hi, I'm Heinbach and I'm sitting in a room. Hi, I'm Heinbach and I'm sitting in a room. Hi, I'm Heinbach and I'm sitting in a room. Hi, I'm Heinbach and I'm sitting in a room. Hi, I'm Heinbach and I'm sitting in a room. This speedrun version of Elvian Lucius' I'm Sitting in a Room is only one of the many possibilities you have with the Hind Lab, a system I built for SMEM, the Swiss Museum and Center for Electronic Musical Instruments in Fribourg. Just add reverb. They commissioned me to build this instrument for their publicly accessible playroom. And it's based on the tape and test equipment studios of the past. But it's a very, very boiled down to the core version of these. If you come here with kids, anything with a microphone and an echo is usually a lot of fun. This is one for my kids. They're gonna be embarrassed because the oldest is 12 now. She's gonna not find this funny, probably. Fart. Fart again. Fart. Fart again. Fart. Fart again. Fart. It does work. Even with a non-kid crowd. Even if you're not into experimental music, you can just plug in your aux and use it as a wonderful tape looping effect unit. This is my introduction to the Hind Lab. I hope it helps you when you're sitting in front of it and it inspires you when you make music at home, be it with a similar setup, with soft synthesizers, or with the samples I posted on my Patreon. First, what is a tape and test equipment studio? Early electronic music studios largely stayed away from the simple electronic instruments of the time, with a few notable exceptions. They opted for measurement equipment like function generators and filters, which gave the music and the studio an air of sound science. They allowed for a very precise way to generate sound, and the interplay of big dials, tape editing, and composer brains created some utterly unique works. Some studios kept their analog equipment for as long as possible, but the advent of digital spelled the end for rooms filled with oscillators and filters. Today, these techniques are being rediscovered by musicians all across the world, myself included. I just enjoy this sonic searching, using a big dial to find tiny notes, interpolations, a bit of noise that's interesting. It's a very minimal way of making music that forces you to think differently. One of the first things you might notice when you sit down to play with the Hind Lab is that everything has these little blue and red dots here. This is for ease of use. Blue means to initialize. These are the recommended settings. So when you start out, you should just set everything to the blue position. So, like so. And this goes for all these machines. So just initialize everything if it's not in that position already, which might be the case if other people have played it before you. The red positions are fun settings, meaning this is where you will hear something and there can be pretty drastic changes. There's two ways to send sound out. The first, simply up the volume. This is our little leader test tone generator here, which is now producing a signal. As you can see, I set it to the red position, which is probably a good level. And now, let's bring in the Impulsgenerator. On channel 3, you find the mic. 1, 2, 1, 2. And on channel 4, you can plug in anything you want. Bring your own laptop, your iPhone, or take another synthesizer from the collection and run it into this channel. That's free for you. The Revox A, this one, is on this channel. You can see the googly eye is looking at it. And on channel 6, you've got googly eyes looking at this tape machine. So now, we can send the signal either to the main mix, basically directly to the output, or to the tape machine. Open up the tape machine. Now, this is the signal to the tape machine. You can see how it opens up here, and it already is a bit more unstable. Pair them together and you get something nice and wobbly. What is happening is that this signal is getting sent to the tape machine, recorded on here, and then it travels all the way back here and then gets erased again. This machine is basically acting like a tape echo. And like on any tape echo, we can introduce feedback by sending the tape machine back into itself using the reverb echo send. Listen to the clean pulse. Adding in the taped version, which adds a slight delay because of the time the tape takes to travel from the recording head to the playhead. And now we feed it back into itself. And of course, with the equalizers, we can shape that signal to be more bassy, or just highs. Give it a bit more feedback until it will start to self-oscillate. And self-oscillation is something you can also explore a lot with this machine. By not giving it any signal, just feeding it back into itself and playing the equalizer. And you can introduce rapid bursts by using these switches here, which set the input level . Oh, I really love tape. I really love tape saturation. So let's set this all back a bit. Put this back in the line position, because the other positions basically act as an overdrive. We can now add the second tape machine. That is only on playback, and what it will do is it takes the signal that is recorded here, and after, let's say this is like 2 or 3 seconds, it will play it back. Let's send it down the line. And that's your delay. Of course, this is gonna get erased once it hits this erase head. But since we can also send this tape machine back to the first one, we can keep up a loop of continuous recordings. And in theory, that can go on forever. in practice, the tape degrades and there's lots of little distortions that happen that will muffle the signal because we are re-recording it all the time. For that to work, you have to set it to this position. Note, this might vary. All of these are approximate values, and depending on the state of the machine, if it has been cleaned, if the tape loop is fresh, this might change to absolutely nothing. If you have an old tape loop, you might hear absolutely no feedback at all anymore. But now let's see. Same tone. And now it should repeat. It keeps on looping. Notice the gradual changes. It takes a while to degrade, which is nice because it's like a fading echo and we can play with that. So on this, I've noted scales, tones. So now oh, that is lovely. And now, what do we do if we want to keep this loop? We can just stop here and press play again. And now we have a loop recorded. And if you're feeling adventurous, which some of you probably do, we can now flip this and play it in reverse. Stop the machines. Take out the loop from the left, follow it over here, and now just flip it. So, plays on the other side. Now, start from here, start from the right, put it in here, and then guide it carefully along here. And then the final thing, you're gonna guide it across here. So, pretty easy, but might already be a little bit advanced. But now let's listen to it back in reverse. Oh, isn't that lovely? But now we can drop this to a different speed, to half speed. And therefore we have to press both of these at the same time. Oh, isn't that beautiful? If we are at low speed, the loop will be longer, but we're going to lose out on fidelity. Let's try to record something on this loop at this speed now. Therefore, I'm going to change this to the red button, which will add overdrive, which makes this sound like a cello, especially if you add the echo. But that's not all the tonal shaping we can do on the leader. We have got this frequency analyzer here. This allows for multiplication of an input signal with an internal signal and creates wonderful sidebands. We start out with a sine, and now we blend in the ring modulated signal. Now we shift it, multiplying the signal, the higher oscillation creates all these rusty tones. Up until very high radio-like tones. And of course, this is wonderful to combine when layering it on tape. Forbidden Planet, here we come. There are some fun additional functions on this mixer, like you've got a tuner, so you can get your A right. Of course, the spring reverb, which we just heard. If you slap it, you get these percussive sounds. And then we even have a drum machine. I hope you saw that while this setup might seem simple, there are whole layers of complexity in there. And it's all about the combinations of everything. Changing the tonal shape by using overdrive, using the ring modulator, playing it hot or soft on tape, feedbacking the tape. You can play this like any instrument, like a piano. You can learn how to work out all the little differences and nuances that hide behind just a tiny movement of a dial. And if you get lost, just reset everything to the blue position. And if you smell something funny, you might want to quickly turn off the machines and step away and alert the staff.
I smell something I don't like.
Yeah, turn it off. There's a little bit of smoke. There's smoke. Smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to SMAM for commissioning this and letting me stay here for a full 10 days. But now I have to play Nova Chord, which is one of my bucket list items, so watch out for that video. Thank you all for watching, and if you have any more questions, do put them in the comments below or visit the subreddit. And if you need tech support for this, ask the staff, not the comment sections. I'm not monitoring this all the time. Thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.